rare and balanced view on politics in today's world. Based on facts, born of rationality, common sense, and logic, providing context on today's events. This is American Perspective with Rick Thomas.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to American Perspective. I am your host, Rick. Hey, we got another bar back here, provided by none other than Buddy Weiser. Now, I don't know where he gets these things, but I'm just going to say this one's kind of cool, too. I mean, they all are. Now, my head obviously is in the way, so let me go ahead and move, like a head, my head is a head. Anyway, let me move out of the way. Let me just take off my camera, turn it off so you guys can get the full effect of the bar. So there it is. There's the bar. And now I'm back. All right. Let's go ahead and get things kicked off. Tonight is Pops McGroin and partner up for the Pledge of Allegiance. So if you are of mine, please stand. Remove your hat if you're wearing one like me. And place your hand over your heart and follow along with Pops McGroin and partner as they recite the Pledge of Allegiance. And hopefully this time I won't hit the wrong button. Anyway, here you go.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
God bless America.
And, of course, I thank you, Pops McGroin, for submitting that wonderful Pledge of Allegiance. You know, I haven't seen Pops in a while. I should probably go head on over to the McGroin crew and see what's going on, or at least pop in and say hi. All right. If you would like to hear your rendition of the pledge played here on the program, all you need to do is record yourself reciting or performing the pledge in your style, then take that audio file, video file, whatever kind of file, and send it off to me. Send it to fans, F-A-N-S, at AmericanPerspective.online. That's fans, F-A-N-S, at AmericanPerspective.online, and I will get you into the rotation. I'm looking for number 17. Number 17 is next, so there you go. Anyway, all right, let's get on to tonight's headline sponsor, which, of course, is the Institute on the Constitution. The Institute on the Constitution was established in 2004 as a 501c3 nonprofit with one singular mission, and that is to restore the constitutional republic through grassroots education. All courses and materials are developed using primary source documents and taught from the American view of law and government, as defined in the Declaration of Independence in the following 3 key points. 1, there is a God. 2, our rights come from him. And 3, the purpose of civil government is to secure and protect our God-given rights. The IOTC offers the opportunity to educate yourself on our most precious founding document, the Constitution of the United States. They also provide tools to educate your community and get involved with local government. Start by taking their free U.S. Constitution course and go from there. Use my affiliate link, iotc.americanperspective.online to sign up. And while you are there, take a moment to look through their other course material and information. My affiliate link, once again, is iotc.americanperspective.online to get great content to learn about our historical founding and support the show in the process. That's iotc.americanperspective.online. Or if you just want to purchase this fabulous Saddleback leather-bound U.S. Constitution to support the show, go to constitution.americanperspective.online. Take a look at this wonderful book. It's got 1/8 of an inch of Saddleback leather right here. Pages that are water and tear resistant. No cheap glue binding here, folks. It is stitched all the way through the leather and the pages within. It has sexy rounded corners, according to all of my Whiskey Warrior P1s. And each book, according to 3 Chevys, each book you purchase will cause a liberal to have explosive digestive issues. Buddy Weiser says, please purchase one of these pocket documents for yourself and your family members. And I got to say, he's tested it. He's approved it. It has also been tested by Billy. Billy has tasted it and approved it. And my youngest whiskey warrior has confirmed that the information contained within will help you get your civics badge in Scouts. Oh, geez, wants to pull out the Gorilla Glue and put it in somebody's hands, a leftist hands. Anyway, go to constitution.americanperspective.online and get yours today. And also, while you are there, take a look at the rest of the Institute on the Constitution's offerings, as I appreciate them for allowing me to be an affiliate. All right. Well, we already know that she stopped herself going to try and run for the governorship of California, but that doesn't mean she is gone. In fact, she has decided somehow, and this is going to be fun. She has decided somehow that she is going to produce a book about her failed campaign. That's right. Kamala Word Salad Harris has announced that she has an upcoming book coming out about her failed campaign. Now, I'm trying to figure out how did they shorten it? Because she when you ask her a question, she gives you a 5-minute answer that doesn't say a single thing. But anyway, Trump impersonator Sean Farish did a response. It was kind of fun. He did a response and he goes, he does this in Trump's voice, but he goes, you wrote a book? You couldn't make it through a speech without the teleprompter, but you want people to believe you wrote a book. Yeah. Oh, yeah. She announced yesterday, actually, the upcoming release of her, quote, behind-the-scenes look at arguably the most disastrous presidential campaign in modern American history. Yeah, so here's, oh my gosh. Anyway, here's the, oh, wait. Got to get it up on the screen. Here we go. All right. Take a listen to this wonderful thing.
Just over a year ago, I launched my campaign for President of the United States. 107 days, traveling the country, fighting for our future. The shortest presidential campaign in modern history. It was intense, high stakes, and deeply personal for me and for so many of you. Since leaving office, I've spent a lot of time reflecting on those days, talking with my team, my family, my friends, and pulling my thoughts together. In essence, writing a journal that...
Okay, hold on. I got to stop this. Take a closer look at this thing. I don't even know if I'm going to be able to do this, but I'm going to give it a try. Look at the thickness of that book. Holy crap. That thing is at least as thick as our American's Almanac. The American Patriots Almanac that we read from on Saturdays. That thing is huge. And her election was only, or her time to do this, and this is what it's about, is the 107 days. And that's actually, it looks like that's even the title of the book, 107 days. Holy cow. That thing is thick. No wonder. Yeah, this is word salad. Yeah, word salad. No, I don't want to destroy the Wiggles. Anyway, word salad. Holy crap. Oh, 3 Chevy points out too. He says, talking with her team, she wouldn't even allow them to make eye contact. Whoo. Wow. All right, let's continue and see what else she says here.
Is this book, 107 Days. With candor and reflection, I've written a behind-the-scenes account of that journey. I believe there's value in sharing what I saw, what I learned, and what I know it will take to move forward.
Oh my gosh, she sounds worse than I do reading a teleprompter. Oh, holy crap. Wow. Okay, well, let's continue.
In writing this book, one truth kept coming back to me.
That you're an idiot and that you are a moron and that you can't say anything worth of any value. Yeah, that's the one truth. That is the truth. That you took a campaign that was fully funded and ended up $20 million in the hole. Yeah, there you go. That you took a geriatric old daughter who didn't really have any kind of brains at the end there and tossed him off a cliff. Yeah, without 25thing him. Yeah, all right. Anyway, hang on.
Sometimes the fight takes a while.
What fight? There wasn't much of a fight. You freaking tanked it, chickie. Anyway.
But I remain full of hope. And
No.
I remain clear-eyed.
Really? Clear-eyed to what? Your false interpretation of what happened? Yeah.
I will never stop fighting to make our country reflect the very best of its ideals.
You exemplify exactly what we don't want. A DEI hire who has literally zero experience, zero capabilities, spent all day playing solitaire when you should have been the vice president of the United States. Yeah. When asked a question, you ramble on. I mean, even just like a yes or no question, you just sit there and ramble and ramble and ramble and talk about different things. And, don't forget, we must be unburdened by what has been. The unburdening would be you disappearing, going away, completely going away. Oh, just disappear, fade off into historical obscurity forever and never, never, never approach public office ever again, please. Anyway, I let her go.
Always on behalf of the people.
Bull crap. All right, moving on.
So thank you for being in this fight with me. I am forever grateful. And I cannot wait for you to read this.
To put you to sleep? When you need something, when you have that weeks-long insomnia or whatever? Yeah, okay.
And I'll see you out there. Take care.
Oh, yeah. Take care. And you'll see me out there. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, my gosh. Oh, holy crap. This thing is going to fail just as bad as Biden's memoir is and has done. Shoot, I could write a freaking memoir and probably get more sales than she could. Anyway, I don't know. The book's title is 107 Days. Yeah. Yeah. The chances of my reading her book is absolute zero. There's no way. I can't. I can't. I just can't. I don't know. I'm going to be honest with you. I actually think that the whole book deal thing, all of this book deal stuff, I think it's all a front for money laundering. Okay. I think it's all a front for money laundering. And so they do these ads, they put these books out, they say, hey, here we go, this is what's our books, But in actuality, it's the front money that they get that really counts. Now, I actually have written a book. It was a combination with a couple of different other people, and believe me, it was a technical manual. This was probably 15, 20 years ago. But that thing, it was expected to gain a little bit of royalties off of it. I was paid a small stipend for my time and energy in terms of turning in the documents and the books, but we actually didn't sell enough, at least from what I've been told, we actually didn't sell enough to actually cover the costs of the books. So I don't know where these people are getting, like, $10 million, $20 million. Yeah. I mean, it's just, oh my God, I can't even imagine. Yes, Bonnie, my book is well outdated. The tech inside, for the most part, some of it stayed. Some of it is still relevant today, but most of it is not. At least the parts that I wrote anyway. So anyway, the whole point of this is, first of all, who's the publisher that's like handing out these millions of dollars to hand to a individual? And that, I mean, talk about a legitimacy of money laundering and a money scam. Yeah. I mean, even like Sotomayor, Justice Sotomayor, I think it was given like $15 million for her book deal or something along those lines. She got all kinds of money for some sort of a book deal. Yeah, I can't imagine who would actually like read this book. Unless somebody's planning on using it as, hey folks, do you see this book, 107 Days? This tells you literally step by step what not to do on the campaign trail. If you do everything opposite of this, you will be elected to office. But if you follow this thing like it's an instruction manual, you will definitely lose. Boy, there would be some sort of an infomercial on the whole thing. Oy, oy, oy. That's almost as bad as Hillary Clinton's book, I'm With Her, or something like that she wrote after she lost in her election. Really? Speaking of Hillary, the Durham report, the tail end, the appendix that was classified has been declassified by none other than Chuck Grassley. Here it is, right here. So this is the appendix that went to the Durham report. Now, as you can see, there is redactions. There's quite a few in some cases. But you can kind of read through some of the lines here in terms of what is going on. And what's going on is the fact that there's more to this than just the Clinton campaign. There's actually, and also, too, I got to tell you as well, there's even more evidence than just this declassified document. Because Kash Patel came out and said that the evidence of the hoax was actually buried in a back room at the FBI. So there are documents included and parts in the declassified annex or appendix. I guess it's an annex. Anyway, the declassified parts that show that Hillary Clinton actually approved this whole thing. She was very well aware of it. She approved using it. And so anyway, this is part of the annex that was put out as well, the special counsel John Durham's thing. But Kash Patel said in a post on X, he goes, "We uncovered this annex along with thousands of other documents buried in a back room at the FBI. It revealed a highly classified piece of the Durham report, evidence that the Clinton campaign plotted to frame President Trump and fabricate the Russia collusion hoax. We worked with Chairman Grassley and declassified the documents immediately. And now the American people can see the truth for themselves. The Russia hoax was a disgrace that President Trump and our country should have never been put through." Now I got to ask a question. How soon? How soon do we start seeing people being indicted for what is essentially a seditious conspiracy? I mean, I'm just asking a question, and it's a viable question. When do we start seeing the people getting perp walked? We have all of this evidence, which also, by the way, Kash Patel did mention that these bags were, I guess, labeled or scheduled to be burned as well. But why? Why are we not getting anybody in as a part of this? I'm still confused as to why, if we have all of this evidence, the investigation is definitely, moving forward, but we have all this evidence. Why is nobody being indicted yet? Why do we not have anything set up yet to go and get these people? I just don't understand this. Now, keep in mind, Hillary Clinton wasn't necessarily the mastermind to this whole thing. She just approved it. So apparently, there was an individual who worked on the campaign. There's a top campaign advisor who came up with this plan to smear Donald Trump with these false claims of Russian collusion and distract from her own, meaning Clinton's own, mounting email scandal. So it was a distraction for the email scandal. So anyway, the plan basically was to raise the theme of Putin's support for Trump, subsequently steering public opinion toward the notion that it needs to equate the Russian leader's political influence campaign with the actual hacking of election. Excuse me. Actual hacking of election infrastructure. But Clinton approved the plan, which I pointed out. The woman who did this was a foreign policy advisor. Her name is Julianne Smith. Smith would go on to serve as former President Joe Biden's ambassador to NATO. And she told the Post when she was reached by phone today that she has no comment. So, yeah. Anyway, this is just ridiculous. This is a large conspiracy. Conspiracy to usurp the duly elected president of the United States. Apparently, there was also oh, wait a minute. Sorry. Let me see. Yeah, so there's also information in here that, of course, noted that Obama ordered the post-election intelligence assessment that claimed all of this stuff. So, yeah, there you go. I mean, now, what's even more surprising, I guess, and you really, people talk about this individual as though he is like some sort of a figment of everybody's imagination, that he does nothing but adds, money or whatever. Well, the Durham report also has a link now, an actual link between the Clinton campaign and Soros's Open Society Foundation. So this comes in the mail or in an email. This comes on an email that basically shows that the individual, let's see, what is his name? Let me find him here. So the FBI has evidence of the hacked, or supposedly the hacked emails that apparently were hacked from, again, Clinton's server, okay? Clinton's server. And two of them appear to have originated from the Open Society Foundation. And this is all part of the appendix, by the way. This is all part of the Durham report. The Durham report annex. Sorry, annex, appendix, whatever it is. So this individual, the purported author of the emails, was a guy by the name of Leonard Bernardo. Leonard Bernardo was the regional director for the Eurasia, Europe-Asia area, and at the Open Society Foundation. So Bernardo reportedly wrote in an email, during the first stage of the campaign, due to lack of direct evidence, it was decided to disseminate the necessary information through the FBI-affiliated technical structures, in particular the CrowdStrike and Threat Connect companies, from where the information would then be disseminated through leading U.S. publications. Clinton campaign advisor, which is Julie, is mentioned in this. He allegedly continued in writing and saying that the media analysis on the DNC hacking appears solid. Says it will be a long-term affair to demonize Putin and Trump. And this is from Julie, the person who kind of concocted all of this. Now it is good for a post-convention bounce. And then he basically, and here's the other part that's really like tied to this too, because this guy who is a outside Democrat organization, allegedly in these emails, according to the appendix, said later the FBI will put more oil onto the fire. Now this basically indicates that the leaders of the FBI knew what they were doing, knew that this was something that was fabricated, knew that there was somebody outside of government that was actually a part of all of this, and basically didn't do their jobs. Yeah. Another email from the annex, reportedly from Bernardo, again, states that HRC, meaning Hillary Rodham Clinton, approved Julia's idea about Trump and Russian hackers hampering U.S. elections. He says, this should distract people from her own missing email, especially if the affair goes to the Olympic level. The point is making the Russian play a U.S. domestic issue. Say something like a critical infrastructure threat for the election to feel manic, since both POTUS and VP POTUS, or VPOTUS, have acknowledged the fact the intelligence community would speed up searching for evidence that is regrettably still unavailable. So Crossfire Hurricane was the FBI's Trump-Russia investigation was opened just several days later after these emails were going around. The appendix also reveals that Durham's team interviewed numerous FBI personnel involved in the Crossfire Hurricane probe. Durham said that those he interviewed believed the Bernardo email to be likely authentic. Durham's appendix states that the Clinton campaign might have wanted or expected the FBI or other agencies to aid the effort, i.e. put more oil onto the fire, by commencing a formal investigation of the DNC hack. Yep. So here we have a guy who's basically outside of government, who is very aware of this manufactured process. I mean, again, it's like, come on, people. How much more evidence do you actually need? And why the Durham report the Durham report itself didn't even kick anything off. And the reason being, of course, is because the Durham report came out during the Biden administration. They were all in on it. I mean, you don't think that Joe knew all of this? He was VP at the time. Yeah. So I don't know why this is like, it shouldn't necessarily be surprised. All right. This shouldn't necessarily be a surprise to anybody. The Democrats will do whatever they can. Will do whatever they can in order to stay in power. So Durham wrote as a part of it, it is a logical deduction Julianne Smith was, at a minimum, playing a role in the Clinton campaign's efforts to tie Trump to Russia. He also noted that the communications reviewed certainly lends at least some credence that such a plan existed. So Grassley wrote in a statement, based on the Durham Annex, the Obama FBI failed to adequately review and investigate intelligence reports showing the Clinton campaign may have been ginning up the fake Trump-Russia narrative for Clinton's political gain, which was ultimately done through the Steele dossier and other means. These intelligence reports and related records, whether true or false, were buried for years. Now, here's the thing, okay? This actually stems even farther back than just Biden administration not doing anything. Okay? Because you have the Obama FBI, which again, the FBI, everybody is like, oh, they're supposed to be a nonpartisan agency. Oh, really? They were. They were supposed to be a nonpartisan agency. And yet, what did they do? They forgave Hillary Clinton, gave her a hall pass for her literally using a server that was on a private network that was not at all patched or secured and communicated with, obviously, outside NGO sources with stuff. Who the hell else knows what was on those 33,000 emails that were deleted? This is just the tip of an iceberg. It literally is what we are able to find after they had already gone through and done whatever it is that they were doing. So, yeah. I mean, this is way bigger than Watergate. And they literally need to have Watergate style court appearances and things of that nature. Cover all this up. Well, while we focus on Obama and we focus on Hillary Clinton and we focus on Comey and Brennan and Comer and all these people who are a part of this Russiagate scandal, we must not forget that there is another character out there who potentially has some, not culpability necessarily in the not necessarily culpability in the Russiagate thing, but in the persecution, the continued persecution of Donald Trump afterward. This piece in Town Hall questions, is Jack Smith about to get a taste of his own medicine? So, this is kind of interesting because Tom Cotton, Republican Senator Tom Cotton, wrote in a letter to the acting special counsel, he wrote this: I write requesting the Office of Special Counsel to investigate whether Jack Smith, special counsel for Attorney General Merrick Garland, unlawfully took political actions to influence the 2024 election to harm then-candidate President Donald Trump. As the Office of the Special Counsel is tasked with ensuring federal employees aren't conducting partisan political activity under the guise of their federal employment, you're well situated to determine whether Smith broke the law. Now, keep in mind, don't forget, I'm just throwing this out here, don't forget that Jack Smith was potentially appointed unconstitutionally. We can't forget that. Tom Cotton continues, many of Smith's legal actions seem to have no rationale except for an attempt to affect the 2024 election results, actions that would violate federal law. Now, don't forget, Smith resigned from the Department of Justice in January, just days before Trump was inaugurated, and, of course, losing a series of court battles. So, yeah. Cotton added on X to that letter that he wrote. He said, Special Counsel Jack Smith pushed for an out-of-the-ordinary, rushed trial for President Trump with jury selection to begin just 2 weeks before the Iowa caucuses. No other case of this magnitude and complexity would have come to trial this quickly. Special Counsel Smith tried to bypass the normal process and go right to the Supreme Court, but gave no reason why his abnormal request should be granted. The real reason was to get a quick ruling to damage Trump before the election. A partisan, unlawful action. Special Counsel Jack Smith filed for a procedurally irregular brief with no defense motion pending on September 24th of 2024, which may violate the DOJ's 60-day rule. Now, keep in mind, that's a policy. That's not necessarily a law. Before Election Day, this was breathlessly covered by the press in a way to damage Trump. This brief was 165 pages, which is 4 times greater than the normal maximum page limit, and included what was, at the time, secret grand jury testimony. Why? All of this, of course, to help Kamala and hurt Trump. Cotton says there's no other reason. These actions were not standard, necessary, or justified. They were the actions of a political actor masquerading as a public official. That's why I've asked this unprecedented interference in the 2024 election be immediately investigated by the OSC. Yeah. So there we go. These people. I'm just telling you, if you're voting for the Democrat Party after all of this crap, wow, you really must be a special kind of stupid. Seriously. So, anyway. All right, before I move on to my next article, let me go ahead and get this. They're back. That's right. They are back. And if you start your day with coffee, man, you really got to check this out. If you still haven't tried 1775 coffee, now is your shot. The 1775 starter kit has just dropped. There's only a limited number of units available. In this starter kit, you're getting the bold dark roast that hits harder than a CNN fact check. You're getting a smooth medium roast to give that a try. And you are also getting a try at the Vitality Mushroom Coffee. Now that mushroom coffee, Vitality Mushroom Coffee, gives you a clean energy and laser focus with no crash. All of these coffees are single origin, small batch, toxin-free, and mold-free. Additionally, you're also getting my personal favorite, a gold spoon clip, because freedom isn't scooped with plastic. You're going to get a frother that is strong enough to stir up your coffee as well as your mother-in-law's political opinions. And you'll be receiving a 1775 black tumbler that says, I don't take life advice or caffeine from a woke sea witch. It's $170 worth of coffee and gear, yours for just $99. This is for the ones who have been watching 1775 coffee blow up on Rumble and wondering if it's actually worth it. Spoiler alert, it is. Go to 1775coffee.com /studio and grab your starter kit before they are gone. $17.75. That's 1775 coffee, all one word, .com /, which is the question mark key for those of you who are wondering, studio, STUDIO, to get your starter kit. Go to 1775coffee.com / studio and grab your starter kit. Again, before they are all gone. Bold beans, clean fuel, and a morning routine that stands for something, just like Rumble does. Start your day with coffee that actually backs what you believe. Go to 1775coffee.com / studio and get that $170 worth of coffee and gear for just $99. Once again, 1775coffee.com / studio. And start your morning with coffee that actually backs what you believe. All right. So, we now have, Donald Trump has been taking a lot of shots at a bunch of different people. A lot of them have been the ones that have been against him for, the various number of times. Well, he's finally leveled his guns to Nancy Pelosi, but not for her not of her legislation, not for her handling of the House, not for any of that, but for her potentially inside information and her insider trading. Let's take a listen to what President Trump had to say about this.
Nancy Pelosi became rich by having inside information. She made a fortune with her husband, and I think that's disgraceful. So in that sense, I'd like it, but I'd have to really see I study these things very carefully, and this just happened. So I'll take a look at it. But conceptually, I like it. And what I do think is Nancy Pelosi should be investigated, because she has the highest return of anybody practically in the history of Wall Street, save a few. How did that happen? It happened by she knows exactly what's going to happen, what's going to be announced. She buys stock, and then the stock goes up after the announcement's made. And she ought to be investigated.
Yeah, exactly. She does need to be investigated. And it's not just her, by the way. I mean, there's a bunch of them. But yeah, she, now she's attempting, by the way, to kind of cover this up, because Pelosi fired back after this, and she calls the allegations ridiculous, although her track record basically shows she does better than like somebody who actually day trades or does stock trading for a living. Her returns are actually more consistently better than just about everybody that does that. Okay. Now, she also stated, in fact, I very much support stopping the trading of members of Congress. Not that I think anybody's doing anything wrong. If they are prosecuted and they go to jail, she said during an interview on CNN. She added, but I have no concern about the obvious investments that I have made over time. I'm not into it. My husband is, but it isn't anything to do with anything insider. Really? There's this emollients clause that's in the Constitution that prevents the president from actually owning certain things while they're president. So they made such a big stink, honestly, about, Trump being in charge of his Trump businesses, that he had to go and put them all into a trust and then put one of his sons in charge, or maybe both, in charge of the whole thing. And then they kind of stated they were trying to go after him during his first terms. They were trying to go after, or first term, I should say. They were trying to go after him for, him using his properties to travel and, hold up or provide lodging for Secret Service and so on and so forth. I mean, seriously, these people need to understand when you're doing a public service like this. And of course, the question still remains. You're going into Congress. You get $174,000 per year, and all of a sudden your net worth jumps into the millions. I mean, you're getting $174,000 a year. And it's a lot of money to a lot of people. But it's not enough to make you a millionaire overnight. There's no way. Well, unless of course you have a book deal. Regardless of whether the book deal is fades or not. Yeah. Anyway. Well, to combat this, and I applaud Hawley for this. I applaud Hawley completely for this. He has put forth a law. It's called the Honest Act. And the Honest Act is going to prohibit lawmakers, the president and the vice president, from trading stocks while in office. It's about damn time, honestly. I mean, the integrity and ethics normally that somebody might have would prevent someone from using this insider information because, let's be honest with you, they write laws that can affect businesses. I don't agree with them. I don't think that's not part of Article 1, Section 8 of the U.S. Constitution. It's stuff like this, especially when they're writing things for, say, OSHA, the EPA, any of the other three-letter agencies that could affect somebody's business. Just think about, we were talking last night about the carbon requirements that were added to the EPA. Just think of what would happen to oil prices and oil refineries if the night before you announced this, you do something like a short sale where you know how their stock points are going to drop, and so you short sell in order to gain money off of the drop in prices. I mean, again, it's entirely possible to utilize this information, things that you know that are coming out that are going to become something of an effect on a business or a series of businesses. So this, honestly, this is a good thing. I like this. Now, it's already passed through the Senate Homeland Security and Government Affairs Committee this past Wednesday. And committee, believe it or not, committee Democrats have joined with the bill's sponsor to send the bill to the floor of the Senate. So Hawley introduced the Pelosi Act earlier this year, but what ultimately passed through this markup process was called the Honest Act. So both pieces of legislation ban all members of Congress and their spouses from trading stocks while in office. So in this particular case, in addition to closing all kinds of various loopholes around any direct trades, the critical difference between the two bills is that the Honest Act also bans the president and vice president from making trades while in office, which, I mean, the emollients clause already kind of does that. But anyway, that provision, of course, won't go into effect until after President Donald Trump and Vice President J.D. Vance leave office. However, media reports Wednesday morning claimed that the White House had pushed back on the provision once they caught wind of it, but Hawley told Fox News Digital in an interview that he had never heard such messaging from the administration and certainly not from Trump. Hawley was the sole Republican on the committee to vote in favor of the bill, despite a former co-sponsor of the Pelosi Act, Senator Bernie Moreno out of Ohio, sitting on the committee as well. Now, Trump reacted to the bill during a Wednesday press conference. He reiterated his support for a congressional stock trading ban, but he did decline to to endorse the legislation outright. So, and he didn't comment directly either on the ban's inclusion of the top executive offices. This guy's one to watch. This Hawley guy, I'm telling you. So Trump said of the bill, I like it conceptually. I don't know about it, but I like it conceptually. And you know, Nancy Pelosi became rich by having inside information, and that was what he was talking about. We played that clip. So, yeah. There you go. So apparently a source familiar with the negotiations on Wednesday told Fox News Digital that Hawley actually negotiated with the Democrats while keeping Republicans in the dark, citing multiple pieces of legislation that crossed lawmakers' desks on Monday morning that each had different versions of the ban. Hawley has faced staunch criticism from his Republican colleagues during the markup process. Moreno, who did co-sponsor the old bill, says, I have no idea what we're voting for. I have not read the mountains of paper that are sitting in front of me. Well, that's your job. Come on. Anyway, so Rick Scott, Senator Rick Scott from Florida, one of the wealthiest members of Congress, remarked, I don't know when in this country it became a negative to make money. It's not that you can not make money. It's that you cannot use your information or the information that you glean by being in Congress to be able to make that money. You're supposed to, and this is the thing that everybody doesn't seem to understand. Historically speaking, the whole purpose of this, of going and doing public service, was to take off, go do your public service, and then return to your business after that. That was the whole purpose of this. It was not designed to have a career as either a senator or a representative in Congress. This is ridiculous. This is totally ridiculous for them to, I mean, again, if there was somebody who got a piece of insider information, the SEC, the Security and Exchange Commission, would investigate them almost immediately. This is ridiculous to try and sit here and say, hey, I have privileged information. I also have the power to potentially affect a business's value on the stock market. And so I want to be able to do trades. How does that really, seriously, how does that not sound like insider trading? Or not sound like, oh, yeah, you know, so I want to cheat a little bit so that I can gain profit. I swear, the ethics, morals, standards, and everything else that we have in this country are just bananas. All right. Well, I got to admit, this is kind of creative, although I'm not exactly sure I would really feel comfortable if I were the recipient of this. Remember the other day we were talking, I was talking about the gentleman who was a town councilman, I think, or city councilman, and he went and got gasoline doused on him and then lit on fire. Now that, as far as I know right now, that was not necessarily a politically motivated attack. It seems that the two individuals involved, the perpetrator as well as the victim, knew each other outside of him being a city councilman. However, some of those details are still remain to be seen. That being said, that brings this interesting, I don't really want to call it an attack, although this interesting delivery, this interesting delivery brings into a little bit of an odd focus. So, here in LifeZet, a left-wing mob hand deliver a coffin to a Republican lawmaker's home. And in Wisconsin. So check this out. This is crazy. You can see here, they walk up, and I'm talking about this, but apparently this group put together a cardboard coffin. And this is outside of a Representative Stell, Stell, in Wisconsin, outside of his house. They're dressed up. They're dressed in all black. They're dressed, a couple of them are dressed as though they are like pallbearers or whatever. And they come walking up with this cardboard coffin. Now, to the man's home. I mean, seriously, people, if you want to have a political discussion, if you want to have an argument with somebody, I mean, at least do it at the state offices. What are you doing going to the man's home? You're now engaging in targeting, political targeting of this. And I can't back this. I certainly can't endorse it. There's no way. Even though it is, definitely creative. I'm just going to say somebody was creative enough when they did this. But really, I mean, seriously, it's like, why? Why? So they were clad in black, ringing cowbells, and they take flowers as well to Steele, Steil. I pronounced or spelled that wrong. But he is the House Administration Committee chairperson in Wisconsin. And anyway, they dropped this coffin and flowers to the front door on what they called the Death of Democracy procession. Now, the demonstration was organized by a group called the Southern Wisconsin Grassroots Network and another group called the Working Families Party. Yeah, this is nuts. Like I said, it's creative, but nuts nonetheless. I mean, again, if you have a political disagreement with somebody, at least do it. At least have the respect to do it on government property and not on personal property. So, yeah. Anyway. By the way, just a small little note, not that I'm really surprised about this, but, and I was going to bring this up, but I didn't really have too much to really talk about it, but it doesn't, it certainly, isn't surprising that former FBI agent Peter Stroh, deleted his X account after Tulsi Gabbard, brought out the documents. So he decided to get rid of his entire public persona. Oh, well, it makes sense. Delete it. But remember, once it's out there, there is no deletion. Once you put something out on the internet, and I've told my kids this, once it goes out on the internet, it is there forever. It is there forever. So, yeah. Anyway. All right, folks. Oh, that is it for me for this evening. Do me a favor, if you haven't already, head on over to rumble.com, get yourself an account. It is free. And once you are signed up and signed in, make sure you search up the American Perspective channel and hit that green follow button to get notified every time I go live. Also, too, don't forget, if you haven't already, on your way out, hit your thumbs up button, or if you're really interested, you can give me a thumbs down. Across all of my platforms, whether it's X, YouTube, Facebook, or, of course, the aforementioned Rumble. We will see you tomorrow night. It's Friday, TGIF. We will see you tomorrow night, 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, right here on American Perspective. Have a great rest of your evening, and good night.